I like this episode much better than the last. It drew me out of my cynicism enough to enjoy it, or at least parts of it. I love Jack, I really do. He's a beautiful cinnamon roll who's also a badass who kills bad guys. All of the scenes with him, Mary, and or Bobby were the best parts of the episode. Bobby got a definite upgrade from his appearance in season 12 season finale. That guy was basically just Bobby in name only and there for fan service. Bobby was and is my favorite character, but I was really unimpressed with his part in All Along the Watchtower. In this episode, though, he feels like Bobby. Even though he lives in this awful place, he's not given up on helping people, and until the last person is gone, he never will. He also had some really great quips, and he had Bobby's trademark gruff sweetness to him, so I loved it and thought it was great. His worry about Jack's presence in the camp makes perfect sense, while we're clearly not supposed to agree with him because Jack would never deliberately hurt anyone. If I was that Bobby and lived the life he had, I probably would have told Jack to leave too. I've always liked the reoccurring characters in this show better than Sam and Dean, and Jack and Bobby here just fed more into that for me. As for Mary, I've never warmed up to her that much, honestly. She just has never come together for me as a character, but that could be because season 12 overall was so lackluster. But in this episode, I did enjoy that they gave her resolution about the choice that she made to make the deal with Azazel. Her choice might not have been right if there is such a thing as a right choice, but more good than bad came from it, and now she can make peace with that and move on. But it's not all good for me in Apocalypse Land. I've wanted Michael to be a character in more than name only since I watched season 5, and that was like 5 years ago. I want Michael to be interesting, and he's just not. He wants to take over the whole universe because he is like an MCU villain, so boring. To paraphrase TJ Kirk, he's got a big old boner to make people suffer or to win wars, in Michael's case. And of course, he threatens his underlings because every villain ever does that. Goodbye to that universe's Zachariah. We barely knew thee. Are we ever going to see that universe's Castiel? I hope so, but I think it would be kind of cooler if he was in Claire as a vessel instead of Jimmy. And speaking of Cass, I am just really goddamn tired of Destiel subtext at this point. I know a lot of shippers love it, but for me, it's just kind of become an aspect of the show I'm tired of because I want text Destiel now. Like, I want that to happen, and I'm getting really tired of waiting. The reason Cass attacked Donatello's mind was because of Dean, even though it's not expressly stated in the text. Everybody gets that, right? Are there still people out there who don't think Castiel is completely in love with Dean at this point? I try not to get on people for having different shipping opinions than me. I used to care when I was a teenager, but I'm almost 30 now. I've long stopped caring about all of that bullshit. Some asshole out there who hates Destiel does absolutely nothing to hurt me. So why do I care if they hate Destiel or even if they're a Bibro fan? Unless they actually do something to affect another shipper or me in a real way. Like if they come after me and attack me for my shipping opinion, yeah, that's a big deal. But just debating with me on the internet or being an asshole on the internet, who cares? That doesn't actually hurt me in my life. It doesn't actually hurt any Destiel shipper in their life. So it does not matter. All that being said, after Donatello Vader choked Dean, we got a shot of Cass looking really pissed and then goes into the dungeon room saying he's not going to let anyone hurt the people he loves anymore. And as a shipper, I'm sick of getting crumbs instead of the whole meal. On a positive note, the fight with Gog and Magog was the funniest thing that's been in this show for a long, long time. Damn right, Cass and Dean are equally pretty. Finally, I don't understand why the boys got all huffy and self-righteous about what Cass did to Donatello. They've done just as bad things or worse. Remember not a few episodes ago where Dean pointed a gun at Kaya because he was so obsessed with getting Mary back. Not on the same level of badness of making Donatello a vegetable, but that was still pretty damn shitty. So this is some weird writing. I don't understand why they did this. It would be different if Sam carried over his no kill unless absolutely necessary policy he had for like an episode in season 11, but he didn't. That's not still going on. So this whole scene is actually pretty ridiculous, and I just did not buy it. Still pretty good episode overall. Bobby and Jack made it a great time for me, and one really funny scene made this episode overall really pretty solid and entertaining. Sayonara and auf Wiedersehen.